So I'm back to talk a little bit more about attendance and the new tardy policy. So we've met with some students this week and had a little discussion about some of the things that have been going on and listening to some of the concerns that students have. And so we just wanted to share a few more things with you about attendance after visiting with students. From that, we learned that some students, maybe teachers and even parents, don't necessarily understand all of the ins and outs of attendance and what different attendance codes mean, how they apply to your attendance rate and all that. So we're going to try to explain some of that, talk a little bit about the tardy policy and maybe alleviate some concerns that students have about the tardy policy. And then finally, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the incentives we have for students that we're going to start to implement for doing the things that we're trying to hope that everybody does for us. So first, attendance rate is something that we're measured on through the Kansas State Department of Education. And they set an attendance rate goal for all schools that we are to meet every year. If we don't meet those goals, depending on how far away you get from that goal, then we may be sanctioned in some way, put on improvement or corrective action to try and do something about attendance. We aren't in that case here at Topeka High School. That's not something that's a concern for us, but we don't want to get in that shape either. So the state of Kansas says that our attendance rate should be 95% for students. Just to give you some perspective of what 95% attendance looks like, that would mean that a student could miss 4 days of school in a semester. So roughly 4 days of school equals a 95% attendance rate. Excused and unexcused absences count the same. So it doesn't matter whether a parent calls you in or you're listed as unexcused for the day. Those absences all count against your attendance rate and against that 95%. The only absences that don't count towards that 95% are school-approved absences or for school activities. So if you leave to go to a game or a competition or a field trip or something like that and you have an S on your attendance, those S's don't count against your attendance rate. But virtually any other attendance mark for absent does count against your attendance rate. So bottom line is we need you to be in school. Again, I know we talked last week a little bit about how well attendance correlates to academic performance, and so just a reminder of that the district did a study a few years ago, and students who achieve 95% attendance rates score at or above the district average on any assessment measure we give. Students that had an attendance rate of 90% or less scored below the district average on any assessment measure we give. Attendance is very important, and that's why we're taking attendance seriously this year. We're trying to encourage everybody to be here all day, every day, on time. So that brings us to the tardy policy and hall sweeps a little bit and what we've been doing with that. So the tardy policy implemented last week is really meant to try to encourage everybody to be to school on time, be to class on time. And I can tell you from what we've seen so far in the halls, the reaction of students and teachers and all of that, you're doing a fantastic job. Things are much better. We're very proud of everything that everyone is doing related to attendance. We have talked with staff some and as administrators that we really do not want people, teachers, other folks in the hallway here, to be unreasonable with students. If there is some extenuating circumstance that's caused you to be late in the morning or something happening throughout the day that's causing you to be late, just talk to your administrator. Go find somebody, have a conversation with them. People are supposed to not be unreasonable about what we're trying to do here when it comes to tardies and attendance. If you are late and you're swept in the hall, all that is going to happen for the first time is you just need to show your pass. It's red now for the month of September, started today. Everybody has a new pass. You're going to get 2 lines marked out on your pass. They're going to initial it, and off you're going to go to class. If you were to be swept for a second time in the day, then you will go to Bears for the rest of that class period. If you would happen to be swept for a third time in a day, you would go to Bears for the rest of the day. Hopefully that doesn't happen often or to much of anyone. If that were a continual problem, then we would have a conversation with your parents and division administrators and try to figure out what we need to do to make sure you can get to class on time. That's really the gist of the whole tardy policy. So as long as you're class on time, no issues. First time, not a big deal. We're just going to take off 2 passes and off to class you go. Okay, it's really if you don't have your pass or you have 2 or 3 sweeps in a day that you're going to have an issue and have to go to Bears for the day. One aspect of this that's come up is the use of restrooms, and restrooms being unavailable to students. And that is not any intent of anybody here. We're not trying to limit restroom use or take restrooms away from you. In fact, since we've started this, the restrooms have been unlocked and open all day, which is unusual. They actually are more available now than they probably have been before. As a result of this, we've seen no graffiti in the restrooms, and we've had less congregation of students in the restrooms, which is a goal that we're trying to accomplish, and that has happened so far. So we appreciate that and appreciate everyone's efforts with that. But the restrooms are available. We did talk to student government officers, and we are reviewing the idea about the no passes out of class for the first 15 or last 15 minutes of class. They've requested that we consider making that the first 10 minutes and the last 10 minutes of class, and we'll have an answer on that for you later today, but we will probably make that adjustment for you. In addition to all of this, we also are trying to find incentives and ways to reward those students for the things, for doing the things that we want them to do. So being to class on time, not having any tardy marks or absences for the week. So one of those we talked about last week was finals. If you have a 90% attendance rate or better and an A or a B in your class for the semester, you can be exempt from taking finals in some classes. There'll be some exceptions to that, but not many. Of course, like we said last week, if you want to take the final, you can take the final. There's no problem with that. Your teacher would be happy to let you take the final if that is the case. And again, 90% attendance for the semester is roughly 8 days of absence, excused or unexcused. Again, the only thing that doesn't count in that is school excused absences with the S on your attendance. And the other thing, we're going to start implementing some stuff with our 5-star student account. And so for 5-star students, there's a point system in there where we can award points to you. So we will give weekly points for perfect attendance. You can then use those points at this point to attend ball games or things like that for free. So you can spend points to go to games. We will roll out more incentives and things along the way this semester with ways to earn points and ways to spend points on Topeka High gear, other things, other activities that you may attend, drawings later in the semester or quarter for various things depending on how many points you may have and which you may enter. So we are looking at other ways to incentivize those things as well as make it possible for you to attend games and events for free at Topeka High based on doing the things we want you to do here during the day. That I think is all I have today. That was kind of a lot, but hopefully everybody gets it. And again, if there's any questions, concerns, any of that, please come see one of your administrators. We'd be happy to talk to you about it.